I really want to focus on architecture as a tool to engage in all kinds of activities, be it economic, social, political, and kind of results driven, rather than over focusing on the narrow definition of building. I think, to me, it's an architecture of ideas. It's an architecture based around creativity. And I think often in Africa, the development agenda of communities and nations, design is often taken away from it, or it's not included in this discourse. And I think this is what we as architects can bring to the table. How does creativity and design shape, in some small way, how a development can happen? So I encourage people to see Africa beyond its problems. See, it's being defined by its problems rather than being defined by, as I see it, its incredible resilience. We come from a great pedigree of great builders and architects. But I think along the way, as we transition from the indigenous to the more formal kind of Western kind of environment and training processes, we've lost that tissue, that connective tissue. And I think it's all around us, and I think it's just about stepping back or stepping sideways for a moment to recognize that in our traditional communities, design is a very integral part of how people live. Design is one aspect, but how do you use design skills to develop opportunities which will have a truly sustainable impact on the people that we claim to serve? In architectural training, we assume that everything has to be logical and rational, which is a very kind of Bauhaus-inspired idea. But I think what could make us different is exploration and approach to the way we look at design. I think that could be the kind of kernel or the DNA for a certain response in African architecture. Because I think that's how we build our traditional cities. It was built by farmers, it was built by elders, it was built by craftspeople and the women. And women and the community at large have been part of the design process. But often when we talk about design, we assume that it's about only the formally trained the design professional. We need to look at the crafts also and the vernacular and reinterpret and engage. My main projects at the moment, apart from the buildings, are the development of pozzolana cement. I've gotten into the production side of the construction industry, because I always believe that as architects we need to take a step back and not always over-focus on edifice making, but what are the local ingredients and materials that we can bring to bear to enhance and enrich the palette of architecture. So that's what I'm doing. Pozzolana is a locally produced cement, and so it's one of my big projects, trying to engage with the public. You'll be amazed the kinds of people who will inspire you. It's not often from your colleagues then necessarily, but musicians or the playwrights, because they are, I think, really attuned and in tune with the people. And that's where we have to go. Getting new sources of inspiration. And this is something which I think architecture hasn't been able to achieve. Taking, all the existing indigenous ideas and how do we overlay new ideas based on the need, based on the context. That's the most important thing. I think we're scared to go there.